There are so many spiritual scriptures, so many spiritual literatures, so many spiritual books available. Thousands of, you can say, millions of volumes are available on the planet Earth. We can classify all these literatures in three categories. One is Shastra, means the book which speaks about truth logically. Analyzing, goes on analyzing. Shastra. Shastra in three levels. One in the outer world, one in the inner world, another one in between. The outer world Shastras are scientific reports, science. Inner world Shastras are philosophy. Between Shastras are books on psychology. Shastras, the book which speaks about truth, which tries to explain the truth logically. In Shastras, three categories. One is scientific books, outer world. Another one, spiritual philosophy, inner world. Third one, in between, psychology. Physical, mental, spiritual. In all three levels, Shastras are available. The work of the Shastras is to analyze the truth and make you understand intellectually the same truth. The benefit of the Shastras is it gives you a tremendous intellectual understanding and intellectual clarity. Intellectual clarity. It gives you the tremendous intellectual understanding. It gives you the tremendous intellectual clarity. It gives you the tremendous intellectual confidence. Actually, Vivekananda says beautifully. Somebody asked Vivekananda, why should we read Upanishads? Why should we study Vedas? Vivekananda says, if you study Vedas, if you read the Upanishads, you will not fall in superstition and people cannot exploit you. People cannot exploit you. If you know a little bit of Shastras, the books on philosophy, people will not be able to exploit you. Nobody can cheat you intellectually. Intellectual exploiting can never happen in your life if you can read a little bit of Shastras. Shastras are the best guide to the truth. It can give you new dimension. It can change your way of thinking. It can change your way of thinking. It can change your mental setup. It can give you a different outlook altogether about the world, about the life, and about the God. Jiva, Ishvara and Jagat. Jiva means the self. Ishvara means God. Jagat means the world. You will have a new look towards all these three. Towards all these three. If you have a little bit of intellectual understanding, that can change your whole life. In the scriptures, there is a beautiful story. There was a lady called Madalasa. She was a queen of a particular country. She had 7 sons, but all the 7 became enlightened masters. All the 7, they became enlightened and they went away to forest. The kings started suspecting, how can all these 7 guys, the moment they reach 7 years old, they say, Father, we become enlightened, we are going to the forest to live the life of tapasya, to live the life with nature. We don't want your kingdom. Actually, enlightened people never bother about kingdom. Normally, a king is a king as long as he has got servants. But master is a master whether he has got disciples or not. The king's kingdom is dependent on servants. If there is no minister, if there is no servant, if there is no army people, if there is nobody to take care, he cannot be called as king. He is no more a king. So the people who became independent, enlightened, never bother about kingdom because their kingdom is totally different. Their kingdom can never be taken away. The only seat which can never be shaken is enlightened master's seat. The master's seat can never be shaken. Whether you are there or not, they are masters. If you are here, you will listen my words. Otherwise, I will be speaking to the trees. Please be very clear. Because you are here, I am speaking in English. Otherwise, I will continue to speak the language of silence. I will be continuously showering, radiating what has happened in me. Because something which has happened, which cannot be contained. It's a beautiful story, Zen story. One disciple goes to a master and asks, Master, enlightened people speak or not? Master said, no, they don't speak. If you hear somebody speaking, be very clear they are not enlightened. Man who knows never speaks. Man who speaks doesn't know. Then he asks, oh, enlightened people keep quiet. Will they be in silence? Again Master says, no. If you see somebody in silence, be very clear he is ignorant. He is not enlightened. Enlightened man can never be silent. Just like you all, that guy also got confused. He also got confused. He asked the master, what is this? You say they neither speak nor they keep quiet. What do? Master says beautifully, enlightened people, they sing. They sing. They can neither keep quiet nor speak. They can only sing. Then he gives a beautiful statement. Enlightenment is not something you will have and keep it in your locker. You can't possess it. If you can possess it, after having enlightenment, you can keep quiet. But actually, enlightenment will possess you. You can't possess enlightenment. Enlightenment will possess you. The moment it starts happening, you start singing. Your whole being becomes a song and a dance. You can't do anything else except singing and dancing. Because you are here, I speak in English. Otherwise, I will be continuously speaking the language of nature, the language of silence, the language the whole existence can understand, the language in which the whole existence communicates. Because you are here, I am speaking in English. Masters are not masters because there are disciples. An enlightened one is an enlightened one even without disciples, even without students. Paramahamsa is not dependent on his disciples, but the king is dependent on his citizens. As long as there are citizens, he is a king. Without citizens, the king cannot exist. Without members, party cannot exist. Even though nowadays there are some parties without members, they don't exist. They are just only in the paper, letter pad, not in reality. Anyhow, you need to understand, enlightened man is never bothered about kingdom. Even though a great kingdom gets created around him, even though a great kingdom happens around him, he is never bothered, neither touched nor tainted by any kingdom, by any paradise. So the moment they became enlightened, they started moving towards the forest to live happily. Only fools can live in cities. I don't think any intelligent man can live in city. After all, you are going to live on this planet Earth for hardly 80 years. That also maximum. 80 years you are going to live. No intelligent man will waste his 80 years in dying in the cities. At least from my experience, I can say, I have seen thousands of people who are wise in the field of science, in the field of psychology, in the field of spirituality. No wise man lives in the city. No wise man prefers to live in the city. In city, nothing much can happen. People who live based on routine, in Sanskrit, the beautiful words, Shudra, Vaishya, Brahmana, Kshatriya. You should understand, these words are loaded with wrong meanings now. Understand, these words does not belong to any community. Nobody can become a Brahmana just by taking birth to Brahmin father, mother. Nobody can become Kshatriya just by taking birth to a Kshatriya father, mother. You can't become a Shudra just because you are born in the womb of Shudra. Just because your mother is, or your mother or father is Shudra. No. You can't become Brahmana or Vaishya or Kshatriya or Shudra by birth. It's only by quality. Shudra is a man who lives in a routine. In a routine. If you live in a routine, morning 8:30 get up, 9 o'clock office, evening 8 come back. If you live in routine, means you are selling your time to somebody. If you sell your time to somebody, you are a Shudra. If you sell some products to somebody, your creativity means your intelligence. If you sell your products to somebody, your creativity to somebody, you are a Vaishya. If you sell your confidence to somebody, gathering people and giving them confidence, we are a group, race. If you sell your confidence to somebody, you are a Kshatriya. Understand these basic things. Your whole outlook towards the life will change. If you sell your time, you are a Shudra. If you sell your creativity, products, you are a Vaishya. If you sell your confidence, giving confidence to people, you are a Kshatriya. If you sell your being, the ultimate wisdom, if you sell your intelligence, the ultimate thing to people, you are a Brahmana. So no intelligent man will live in the city. People who sell their time, only they crowd the city. People who sell their products, only they go to cities. People who sell their products, they go in search of customers. People who sell their time, they go in search of lords or bosses. managers. But people who sell wisdom, customers go in search of him. Customers go in search of him. People who sell confidence, even they go in search of people. They want citizens. Only then they will have their party. They will have their kingdom. People who sell their time, they go in search of job. They go in search of managers. They go in search of the person who will give them employment. They have to go to city. The people who are in search of, people who are selling their creativity, products, they are in search of customers. Again they go towards city. People who are selling confidence, leaders, kshatriyas, they also want people. The more they sell the confidence to others, the more they get the confidence. If they can convince 10,000 people that they are the leader for him, he is the leader for them. Actually it is other way. They are the leader for him and he is the leader for them. If he can convince 10,000 people, he is the leader for them, saying that they are the leader for him. When you say they are leader for him, he becomes leader for them. When he can convince 10,000 people that I am your leader, he gets the confidence. So when you sell confidence, you need people to purchase. You need people to buy. Again, kshatriyas who sell confidence, they go towards the city. They go towards city. People who sell wisdom, people who sell intelligence, I can say, not even selling, sharing. People who share wisdom, people who share intelligence, they don't go towards customers. Customers, they come in search of him. So wise people never go to city. Only people from city come to him. They always sit in forests all over the world, in all religion, not in one religion, in all religion. A man who has become a Brahmana, a man who has become enlightened, the man who has become wise, the man who has become intelligent, the man who has achieved wisdom, he lives in forest. From all the tradition, see all the tradition. In all tradition, they live in forest. People go in search of him. People who are the owners of wisdom, who are the owners of spirituality, who are the owners of intelligence, they live in forests. So naturally, when somebody becomes wise, the first step is going towards the forest. Sons of Madalasa, they started moving towards the forest. The king naturally started worrying. And he wants to know why all the sons are moving towards the forest. What is happening? Still, they have not seen the life. They do not know anything about kingdom. But before they know something about kingdom, they are already out. They radiate such a beautiful energy. How this happens? He sent few spies. Actually, you can spy everyone, but never your wife. You can understand about everybody, never about your wife. King himself needs a spy to know what is happening in the palace. Then he came to know the moment the child is born, she starts singing. She starts repeating Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi. That art thou, that art thou, that art thou. You are that, you are that, you are that. When the kids again and again listen that great word, when they hear Again and again, that great sutra, simply they became enlightened. Simply they became enlightened. She has given such a clear intellectual clarity. Kids don't need anything else except intellectual clarity, because they don't have subconscious and unconscious. Just intellectual clarity is enough. If you have subconscious, you need emotional experience. If you have unconscious, you need spiritual enlightenment.